Good morning and welcome to At Home with Roby. I'm Patrick McIsaac, president of Roby Electric, along with Trent Haston, president and CEO of the Roby family of companies. We are your hosts. Trent, Sunday morning, my man.
Sunday morning, but it's really Tuesday afternoon.
Quit giving away our secrets.
Man. Everybody knows the secret. We tried to keep the secret for 2 years.
I think we did an okay job.
We just got to be completely honest.
Well, I think you would have the same thing that happened to you at your church. You would show up to church and, hey, I'm listening to you on the radio. How are you on the...
Well, my wife told me when we talked about doing the radio and we talked about it being Sunday morning, she said if we had to do live shows, I was out. Because she's the boss. She tells me what I got to do.
That's right.
And so maybe one day, I guess I'll have to go to evening service.
Well, and the boss of the radio show, Christian McCall, was on the last show. So if you missed that, go back and check out the podcast. She always does a great job. She's out today. She is not here. We have free reign.
Come on, America. Go check out our podcast. We're really trying to get the podcast vibe going. Tell a friend. If you go tell 2 friends, the podcast program will grow. Everybody seems to be having rave reviews about our guests. We got really cool guests. Today, we have Andrew Wright, part of the family.
That's right, and a longtime friend of yours. You guys go way back,
well,
I think,
we've known each other a long time.
The middle school hardwoods.
We went to Berry Hill Elementary School together.
And he played little middle school basketball.
We did.
I saw a picture of that. Can we put that on the Facebook page?
We can. I'm a warrior for life. Actually, Coach Parks. I think I brown nosed him a little more than Mr. Wright did. I got to go in and throw some left shoulder 3-pointers. You know, I didn't have enough strength to shoot it from a face.
You were 4'0", 100 and nothing. I think you had the
I don't know in that picture though. My shoulders were a little square, weren't they?
Well, as long as you didn't compare them to the 2 guys to your left and to your right, there were some big boys in that picture.
Man, I have a couple of my dear life friends. I mean, D.V. King, you know. Was Shaheed on that team? I don't know. Man, that was back in the day. That was the good old days.
Well, that's cool to reminisce to. Someone put on Facebook's such a cool tool. You either love it or hate it, right? And I think a lot of people love Facebook. A lot of people, for some reason, don't like Facebook. But we had a group of I played high school football, and all the seniors and the senior cheerleaders sat on a stairway, and it was on like the little program. And someone posted that on Facebook, and it was kind of cool just to see everybody that you kind of. I grew up in Georgia, so I don't get to see these people very often anymore. So it's cool to kind of reminisce.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. I mean, I just one of my friends I grew up with, Shane Rideout. He's actually from our kid days. He's the friend. I'm gonna give him the props. He is the friend. I'm gonna have him listen to this podcast. Go tell 2 people. But give Shane a shout out. He went to work out of NC State for Maersk Sealand.
Okay.
And expatted. He lived probably in 5 different countries over probably 10 years and worked his way up and came back and Maersk opened Sealand back. They brought it in during the recession, which is the America's shipping channels. And then 2 years ago, they opened Sealand back up and hired him day one to be the CFO. So he's the number 2 guy of this $1.4 billion company in the shipping industry, a titan. So he's done it well. So when we went down to Florida last week, I took my family down and we stayed with him. We went a couple days early and stayed at his house. He lives in Weston, Florida. But it's cool. I mean, I hadn't, other than he's in town, comes by the house, and we have dinner for 3 or 4 hours. Other than that, we hadn't spent days together in probably 10 plus years. And we got together, buddy. It's watch the sunrise like Jimmy Buffett. It's just a good time. You can't really. I mean, it's what you live for, really.
Right.
I mean, you get with your buddies, and it's the pinnacle of life when you have friends that whether you've seen each other every day or you hadn't seen each other in 20 years, it's the same feeling. So I'm very blessed in that way. I'm really blessed to be a Charlottean and a West Sider. I think we really hold on to our roots pretty good.
You do. I would agree with that. Not being a Charlottean, I've noticed that. I mean, I think that's good. I mean, you have to.
You kind of joined the West Side.
A little. I mean, yeah.
You're like
halfway there.
You're like our new son.
Thank you. I'll
good.
take that as a compliment.
I think it's a very good. It's an extreme compliment.
I'm an equal opportunity geographical side of Charlotte person. So
I sell you to the West Siders.
I can do it. I can do it. I can wear a sideways baseball cap.
Well, I mean, Dave McGuire, one of my diehard best friends, and Chris Maynard. Dave came from the south side. Chris came from the east side. We met at Harding when Harding was a magnet school in the 9th grade.
Right.
They're both about 6'3", and we were practicing tryouts in the outfield of the baseball field, and I had my 2 little V's in my hair down to the point, and I bet I was 5'3", and running my mouth, and I went at them 2 6'3" guys hard, and they both slid tackled me. I had strawberries down my leg, and I promise you, and I stood up to Chris after he slid tackled me. I had a blister on my leg, and I stood up, and he pushed me down with my forehead. Had an easy target, but they have come and they're both adopted West Siders.
And so
Chris now hails from Belmont. So
now you're 5'8" with a receding hairline. You still run your mouth a little bit.
And Chris still pushes me in my forehead.
pushes all of us.
Chris is the guy. I'll brag on Chris. He is the guy that in high school he wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
Okay,
so he did the Navy SEAL. His grandfather was a Navy SEAL, and he would do 400 push-ups a day, amongst some other stuff. But he would do, and I did this for a little while. You do sets of 20 every 2 minutes for 40 minutes. And you talking about wearing you out. My dad would get so mad at him. He's like, boy, because he was a Marine. All you need to do is do 2 sets of 10 real slow and right, and it'll do the same effect. I think he's right, everything in moderation. So,
well, what we're going to talk about in the next couple of segments, Trent, is you don't have to get as big and buff to protect yourself, because we're going to talk about home security. And that's why Andrew Wright's here to talk about is how to keep your home secure, and maybe how the Roby family of companies could potentially help you do that.
What are y'all talking about?
That's what you're about to find out, my man.
Oh, man. Like some Tim Allen.
Some Tim out tool time.
Tool time. With Tim Allen.
Am I your Al Borland?
Yeah, you are. You got the same hair. Hey, stay tuned. Me and Al Borland will be back in a few with Andrew Wright.